This type of economic development is not suited for every parcel of property. Are there parcels that may be suited for it? Can it meet all the requirements? But this is going to really make sure that it's done proper. I know the governor early on wanted to fast track a lot of things, but really what we need is making sure that any type of development that's done like this is done in an area where it's not going to be detrimental to the community. Hello, and welcome back to this edition of Talkin with Doyle. We're here with my good friend and colleague, Representative Jamie Walsh from Luzerne County, and we're just following up a little bit on the discussion we had last week on data centers and some of your legislation that you had. If you want to talk about a bill this week, it's a Democratic proposal that'll be running out of committee. Kind of mirrors your legislation.
Yeah, actually, I'm super excited about this because we are starting to see now weekly bills moving down here, almost weekly, regarding data centers, where 8-9 months ago, there was nothing going on. The reason I'm so excited about House Bill 2496, it was introduced by Democrat Representative Paul Friel. And what it does, it allows municipalities to adopt an ordinance at any public meeting to put a pause on data centers for 180 days. So it's very similar to the curative amendment, because right now, municipalities do have a provision under Section 609.2 where they can adopt a 6-month or 180-day curative amendment. And that gives the municipality 180 days to look into their ordinance and put together something that works for their community.
Yeah. And I think that's the key, is really to put something together that works for their community and gives them the time to do it. Because every community is a little bit different, and it's really going to allow those local officials. And there's a lot of work, and being a local official is a huge responsibility to your community, but this is going to give them the time to do that.
Yeah, so my question's for Representative Friel, which I'm going to track him down today somewhere here, and ask him, can this 180 days be stacked on top of the 6-month curative amendment? Because now we're at a year. Now we're at a year for those township supervisors to be able to adopt something that works for them.
And I think a lot of the approach has been just because there's just been, like we said before, this shotgun scatter approach to looking at every parcel of property and saying we're going to put a data center there. And it's not suited. This type of economic development is not suited for every parcel of property. Are there parcels that may be suited for it? Can it meet all the requirements? But this is going to really make sure that it's done proper. I know the governor early on wanted to fast track a lot of things. But really, what we need is making sure that any type of development that's done like this is done in an area where it's not going to be detrimental to the community, that the natural resources. And then we've talked before about the power grid, and PJM just does not have the power for a lot of these proposals. So a lot of them are never going to go forward. But it is important that our local governments have the time to put those ordinances in effect. And I know you also have a piece of legislation, the Data Center Transparency Act.
Yes.
So if you want to talk a little bit about that.
Yes. As you know, I talked the last time, I have almost a third of my municipalities are being invaded. I don't know what other word to say. We are being invaded by data center, either applications, land offers, submissions, whatever. And one of the things that has come front and center is how secretive all of this has been. And there's decisions being made for local communities, and the people don't even know, like, how much water these data centers are going to use. A lot of times what they'll do is they'll put an application in, and with their application, they'll just put what the first building is going to need for water and electricity, and then they come back and amend their application later to add another building or 10. It's craziness. So what the Data Center Transparency Act would do, if they're building a campus, they would have to provide all of that information up front. Not only how much water, where they're going to get it from, how much electricity they're going to use. It's going to force them to lay all their cards on the table. So the people that live in the community aren't finding out after the fact. We had a situation where they originally asked for like 65,000 gallons of water. They came back a year later and are asking for 275,000 gallons of water per day. And there's only 2 buildings built.
Yeah.
And there's 15 planned. So how far is this going to go?
Yeah. And I think also is making sure that now in Carbon County, and you have part of that, the Delaware River Basin Commission, the footprint,
Yeah.
is making sure that, our commissions like that, which control the water levels in the community and control, that, I say control, but they have oversight over that, any water that's going to be pulled out, and making sure that they have the tools that they need. And I know they're revamping, I've had discussions with them to make sure any kind of water draws that are going to be made out of any rivers or any wells, they have to get a permit. And so there's a really stringent process to that. Because I think sometimes when I talk to folks, they get very concerned that this is how a lot of things are going to get steamrolled. So what we're doing legislatively, a bipartisan manner, is trying to put some things in place to make sure the municipalities have the time, but then also reinforcing that with all the other layers of protections that are already in the community, and making sure that anything that comes in, I don't want people, I get calls from people that, oh, my well's going to go dry. Well, we're going to make, through already things that are in place, because whether it be a data center or any other company that's going to come in and start making these water draws, and that's what the transparency does, is requires them to be upfront with the community, but also making sure that our regulatory agencies like the DRBC, DEP, our conservation districts are all aware of what they're asking for, to see if make sure that the homeowners and other folks that live in that area are not going to be negatively impacted, and making sure that these things are just not going to pop up throughout all these communities, that they're going to be in areas that can accommodate the needs that they're going to require.